Welcome back to your daily tech news for March 22, 2026. Our top 3 stories today. Pentagon filing shows Anthropic and the Department of Defense were closer than expected. Microsoft is rolling back some Copilot clutter in Windows 11, and the Trivy vulnerability scanner was compromised in a major supply chain attack. Let's get into the stories. Pentagon filing shows Anthropic and DoD were closer than public blow-up suggested. New court filings indicate Anthropic and the Pentagon were much closer to agreement than public statements suggested, even after the Trump administration publicly framed the relationship as effectively dead. Anthropic pushed back in court, arguing the government's national security case misunderstood technical details and ignored the actual state of negotiations. What changes here is it reveals how AI procurement is now tangled up with politics, national security, and competitive positioning. It also highlights how advanced model vendors are being judged not just on product capability, but on trust, governance, and whether governments believe they can safely integrate those systems into defense and intelligence work. Microsoft rolls back some Copilot clutter inside Windows 11. Microsoft says it is reducing some Copilot entry points across Windows 11 apps including Photos, Widgets, Notepad, and Snipping Tool, signaling a partial retreat from the AI everywhere design approach it has been pushing. Rather than expanding AI into every available corner of the operating system, Microsoft is now emphasizing quality, fit, and usability. What changes here is it suggests even the biggest AI platform vendors are discovering that too many features, prompts, and assistant hooks can make mainstream products feel cluttered. For viewers, this is a useful signal that the next stage of consumer AI may be less about sheer presence and more about where automation genuinely improves the experience. Trivy vulnerability scanner compromised in major supply chain attack. Ars reports that Aqua Security's widely used Trivy scanner was compromised in an ongoing supply chain attack, creating a potentially serious security event for developers and organizations that rely on it to detect vulnerabilities. The practical implication is ugly. When a trusted security tool is itself compromised, it can become a vector for credential theft, poisoned scans, or broader downstream exposure. Incidents like this shake confidence because they target infrastructure that defenders assume is safe. For software teams, the advice quickly turns into rotate secrets, verify binaries, and audit recent activity. For the broader market, it's another reminder that software supply chain risk remains one of the biggest unresolved problems in modern computing. WordPress.com opens publishing workflows to AI agents. WordPress.com is now allowing AI agents to draft, edit, organize, and even publish content on customer websites, pushing agentic automation closer to mainstream web publishing. The move matters because WordPress still powers a huge portion of the internet, so changes here often become early signals for broader publishing behavior. Supporters will see productivity gains. AI can handle metadata, comments, categorization, and repetitive site upkeep. Critics will worry about low-quality content floods, authenticity, and whether automated publishing could further clutter the web with machine-generated material. Either way, this marks another step away from AI as a sidekick and toward AI as an operator with permissions inside live production systems. Amazon is reportedly building an AI-centric smartphone. Reuters reporting cited by Ars says Amazon is developing a new smartphone years after the failure of the Fire phone, this time with AI as the product's defining idea rather than a supporting feature. If true, the project would represent a surprisingly bold re-entry into hardware and a bet that voice, agents, and cloud services are now mature enough to anchor a phone experience. The challenge, of course, is that Amazon is not entering an empty field. Apple, Samsung, and Google already control consumer expectations. But an Alexa-first phone could still matter if Amazon wants tighter ownership over shopping, media, assistant experiences, and AI-native workflows instead of relying entirely on other companies' platforms. DOJ says Iran's government-operated hacktivist group behind Stryker attack. The U.S. Justice Department says Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security was behind Handala, the group that claimed responsibility for the destructive cyberattack on medical technology company Stryker. This is significant because it shifts the event from a routine breach story into one involving direct state attribution, geopolitical escalation, and healthcare-adjacent infrastructure risk. When government agencies publicly tie attacks to state operators, it affects sanctions, diplomacy, defensive posture, and how every enterprise interprets its own exposure. It also adds to the larger pattern of cyber conflict spilling into private sector networks. For a tech news audience, it's a sharp example of cybersecurity, politics, and real-world infrastructure all crashing into one headline. Intoxalock cyberattack strands drivers across the US. A cyberattack on Intoxalock disrupted the company's ignition interlock breathalyzer systems, leaving affected drivers unable to start their cars across the United States. This story stands out because it shows how cybersecurity failures increasingly hit physical systems, not just websites or databases. The moment software reaches into transportation, mobility, and compliance technology, outages become real-world operational events. In this case, users weren't just inconvenienced online, they were immobilized. That makes the incident an unusually clear example of the growing cost of connected device dependency. It also raises uncomfortable questions about resilience, recovery processes, and what fallback options people have when legally required hardware stops functioning because of a digital attack. 3 people charged with exporting NVIDIA GPUs to China. US authorities have charged 3 people with illegally exporting NVIDIA GPUs to China, underlining how advanced chips remain one of the most strategic choke points in the AI race. These chips are crucial for training and serving cutting-edge models, which is why export controls have become such a central policy weapon. The case matters beyond the individuals involved. It shows how difficult enforcement is when demand is enormous and hardware can move through shell companies, resellers, or indirect channels. For the AI industry, every enforcement action reinforces the idea that compute is no longer just a commercial product category, it is a geopolitical asset with national security consequences. Trump AI framework aims to preempt state rules. The Trump administration released a federal AI policy framework that would centralize power in Washington and potentially override a wave of state-level AI regulations. The proposal also shifts more child safety responsibility toward parents, a move that could reshape accountability across platforms, developers, and app stores. The significance here is less about one immediate law and more about the structure of AI governance in the United States. If federal preemption wins, the market gets a more uniform policy environment but may lose the experimentation and pressure coming from states. For companies building AI systems, this could simplify compliance. For critics, it may also lower the number of guardrails arriving from local governments. Jury says Elon Musk misled Twitter investors during takeover fight. A California jury found Elon Musk misled Twitter investors during his attempt to back out of the 2022 acquisition, concluding that his public statements helped distort the market while the deal was unfolding. This is a big tech business story because it blends platform power, securities law, and the way executive messaging can move markets in real time. Damages may ultimately be substantial depending on how the class action case is resolved. The verdict also extends the long afterlife of the Twitter acquisition, which continues to generate legal and financial consequences years later. For viewers, it is a reminder that social media empires can hinge not just on product decisions, but on courtroom interpretations of public statements. Blue Origin wants an orbital data center network. Blue Origin has asked the US government for permission to launch a huge network of satellites designed to act as space-based data centers, an audacious concept that would push cloud infrastructure beyond Earth's surface. The plan, described in an FCC filing, suggests orbital computing may be evolving from sci-fi pitch into early strategic category. Even if the project takes years or faces major technical constraints, the ambition tells us where frontier infrastructure thinking is heading: more compute, less latency in certain specialized environments, and tighter integration between communications, sensing, and processing. It's also a classic Bezos move, taking a giant systems-level market and asking what happens if you rebuild it from first principles. SpaceX grabs another military launch opportunity as ULA stumbles. ARS reports that ULA's Vulcan remains grounded after a recent booster anomaly, forcing the US military once again to turn to SpaceX to meet an urgent launch need. This matters because military launch reliability is now a strategic capability, not just a commercial bragging point. Every time ULA slips and SpaceX fills the gap, the balance of confidence tilts further towards SpaceX as the default answer for rapid, high-stakes orbital deployment. The story is also about resilience in national infrastructure. When GPS or other defense-related assets need replenishment, delays can carry outsized consequences. For the tech audience, this is another chapter in how private space companies are becoming inseparable from public sector capability. Pinterest CEO backs social media ban for under-16s. Pinterest CEO Bill Ready has called for governments to ban social media for users under 16, putting a senior platform executive behind one of the strongest youth safety positions now circulating in policy debates. The move is notable because it comes from inside the industry rather than solely from regulators or critics. It also arrives at a moment when multiple countries are exploring age verification rules, design restrictions, or time limits for younger users. The immediate debate is obvious. Where do policymakers draw the line between protection, parental control, and overreach? But the deeper issue is whether social platforms can keep defending current design patterns if even executives acknowledge the products may be fundamentally unsafe for younger audiences. Nintendo reportedly preparing a Switch 2 with replaceable battery for Europe. Engadget reports Nintendo is preparing a Switch 2 variant with a user-replaceable battery to comply with EU right-to-repair rules on portable electronics. If accurate, the change would be one of the clearest examples yet of regulation directly shaping mainstream device design. Instead of treating repairability as a niche enthusiast concern, major manufacturers may increasingly build products around legal requirements for battery access and component serviceability. For Nintendo, it also means its next hardware cycle may need region-specific engineering compromises or broader global redesigns. For consumers, it's a rare case where policy could deliver a tangible hardware benefit, longer product life and easier maintenance without depending entirely on authorized repair channels. Strava location leak exposes French aircraft carrier position. A French Navy officer reportedly leaked the location of the Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier by uploading a run tracked on Strava, reviving one of the oldest warnings in the era of connected fitness apps. Your metadata can betray more than your message. This is a crisp, highly visual story about operational security in a world where consumer software defaults often collide with sensitive environments. It's not just embarrassing, it highlights how easily location-sharing habits can expose military movements, workplace routines, or other high-value information. The broader lesson is that privacy and security failures don't always come from hackers breaking in. Sometimes they come from ordinary apps doing exactly what they were designed to do. And that is your daily tech news roundup for March 22nd, 2026. If you want clear daily tech updates without the fluff, subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next briefing. I'll see you in the next one.